Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our final week of App Hub Live. Some of you may have seen me before on here. My name is Nicola, and I lead marketing for app dev for EMEA. And I'm super excited to be here helping you learn a little bit more about App Hub. And I'm going to introduce my colleague, Levent, and ask him to talk about his favorite game during quarantine.
Thank you, Nicola. To begin with, I already introduced myself in the presentation, but I'm Levent. I'm working at the Google Cloud team, looking after gaming industry and helping the game studios create the best games in the market. So my favorite game has been so far Call of Duty Warzone. To be honest, it has launched in PC and all the popular gaming consoles and mobile as well. So, I mean, the game is quite addictive. I think it's one of the best forms of battle royale games out there. And I'm kind of spending like literally every one or 2 hours every day with my friends all around the world. It's quite much fun. I think I'm quite happy this game has launched in the pandemic season. I'm like quite, able to spend my time in that area.
My favorite game was not a battle game. I really dancing game on Nintendo Switch. It's really fun. So did the live today and super questions and questions, please. Okay, if everyone can hear me, Levent.
I can hear you, but I think there's some problem with the connection, Nicola. Can you pick it again? We are getting,
Just questions. There's some sound issue.
Hey guys, Nicola, maybe you can try with your internet. It's kind of hard to hear you. I can take over for a couple of minutes while you sort that out if you just take a second. So I know that we have a couple of questions here that maybe I can just ask Levent. By the way, I'm Rowan. I also work on apps with Nicola, so I'm just here to help while she fixes her internet issue. Perfect. So why don't we start with the first question here, which is, what do you think are the main advantages of Google Cloud compared to other competitors in the market?
Yeah, that's a great question. I also mentioned those areas in the presentation in my talk. I think the most predominant strength we have at Google Cloud for gaming studios is we have a really strong data solutions set that gaming studios can leverage. And I think we are the industry leader on that area. Even we have a couple of rewards from Forrester, like Forrester Research positions Google as a leader in database as a service. And we have a very strong identity and access management, security and database and AI and ML services that are drawing increasing numbers of traditional enterprise customers in that area. So gaming studios can leverage BigQuery, and they can create serverless data warehouse management to understand the end users' insights very effectively. And we have a bunch of really strong customer references on that area, like King, Square Enix, and Ubisoft are all using our data warehouse solutions, and they are able to make business-wise decisions very effectively and quick and agile. And the other thing I would say, especially when it comes to first-person shooter games or games who are requiring really low latency, like battle royale games, which are really popular these days. These kind of games and studios are in need of a global connectivity all around the world. So they can, for instance, when I'm connected to a server from Dublin in Ireland, and you are all the way in Los Angeles, and I want to play a mobile game or a multiplayer game with you, and you need to have fiber optic connectivity between those areas, those zones. And Google Cloud has this capacity to kind of meet those demands, So Apex Legends already has been given an example, and we have a couple of other really good examples. For instance, Niantic, the creator of Pokemon Go, would be a great example to add here. It's a mobile game that launched like a few years ago, and when they were about to launch the game, they were expecting X amount of traffic, but when the game launched, it was like 50x traffic. That was like so huge compared to what they have expected, but they didn't have any issues when the game launched. When if you remember, you started to play the game in the first phase, you would realize that the game didn't have any problem because they were using Google Cloud's infrastructure as backend. So yeah, and the last thing would be, Google has a couple of other teams that they can help you, the gaming studios, to leverage, to connect to other communities via Play, via YouTube or Maps, ads. There are a couple of other teams that studios can talk and connect to.
Okay, great. Thanks for that summary. So the three kind of big things that we have here is one, the Google BigQuery, two, worldwide connection and the right infrastructure, and three, kind of the Google 360 view that we can have and kind of connecting with other teams as well. So that's kind of our competitive edge there. I see Nicola's back now.
Welcome back.
Hello.
Thank you. Let's see if my internet is working. I was just saying how my internet is so much better now because I got these little plug-in things, but apparently it's not that great.
Well, fingers crossed.
Let's see. Rowan, maybe replace me again if anything happens.
Sure, I'll be here.
Okay, so moving on to our next question. Can you give a couple of great examples of companies that have used Google Cloud for gaming?
Absolutely. Just to speak of European gaming companies, like large studios that we are working with, like Ubisoft, a Multiplay, Rovio, King, I already mentioned, Respawn, Jelly Button. So Mad Finger Games are like a few examples in Europe. And and we are also working with Phoenix Labs, and who has launched the company that launched Dauntless. It's a massive multiplayer online RPG game, if anyone is accustomed to it. I am quite a big fan of the game. When they wanted to launch the game earlier this year, they required an amount of server capacity turned out to be a lot. And then within the first week, the player count quickly climbed to 4 million, and rapid growth that was no small feature to accommodate. So as Dauntless continued to rise in popularity, the Phoenix Labs, the publisher of the company the game, were able to scale up really quickly by doubling the number of CPUs to power the game within a few days of launching, providing a seamless experience for the gamers globally. So they have been in touch with the Google Cloud team, the professional services at Google Cloud team, to execute over 1,700 deployments to its production platform during the week of the launch alone. So that was the infrastructure side of the gaming example. The other one would be Square Enix. It's one of the largest gaming publishers out there who have Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, Tomb Raider, really important and cool games. So they are one of the customers that grow by leveraging Google Cloud's data capabilities, as I mentioned. So they are collaborating with Google Cloud engineers, and they're able to break down the data silos to unlock greater insights, which help them to enable better data-driven business decisions. So to give an example, so by optimizing the user flow based on the source of traffic, they increased the retailer click-through rate by 144%, and the conversion rate around 20% after using Google Cloud's BigQuery and data warehouse solutions. So basically, from consolidating and analyzing data from ads, sales, players, and telemetry, they doubled the share of users in some countries by evaluating localization efforts, right? So and they are using BigQuery, Google Cloud AI and ML services to further scale their analytics pipeline across the business and capturing and analyzing even more data to drive player retention and ultimately revenue growth. So Phoenix Labs and Square Enix are quite good examples, actually.
Awesome. Thank you. Great examples. Thank you for those. And then going in a little bit a different direction, can you talk about how Stadia is doing now? And is it possible for a studio to develop with Stadia? And if so, how can they do that?
Sure. I'm actually not the right person to talk about Stadia since I'm not in that team, but I would say Stadia is doing very well. I mean, since it's a niche market, basically streaming a game to the end user screen via our servers is a new experiment, actually, I would say, and then it's working out very well in the developed countries where we have the most robust connectivity, and it's going to be enrolled in different in the coming territories as well. So yeah, I mean, we have an agreement with a couple of really important publishers like Ubisoft, Square Enix. Is getting the numbers are increasing, and lately we announced the Stadia team has announced a new program called Stadia Makers. So basically, they are to expand the self-publishing opportunities for independent developers. So if you're an independent developer, you can enroll to this program, and then you can take advantage of 3 key benefits. So basically, you can so it's actually being run in partnership with Unity. So you can actually you can get the technical assistance from the Unity team, and you can have up to 5 physical development kits, depending on how big your development team is. And also, Google is also providing some funding to offset some of the costs of developing for Stadia. So if you are using Google Cloud Platform, Stadia team is able to give you credits or some discounts. So for us, so basically you can use Stadia, but for the backend you can use any other cloud provider. But we are giving some discounts and some perks. So right now the program is open to developers who are building games on Unity 2019 version, but they are going to be later releasing the game in either. Okay, so basically, if the game is built on Unity 2019 version, and if your game is about to be launched in 2020 later or 2021, you can actually take advantage of these discounts. So if anyone is interested, I can share the link, and then they could look into that to enroll for the program. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
So I think what we should do is include a link to the resources about this we'll add it to the resources tab. So I'll talk about that at the end, but we can add that to the resources tab. So if anyone is interested, they can apply.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you for answering that, even though it's not quite your area. Moving into another question, can you talk about the support that Google Cloud gives to developers? You just talked a bit about what the support looks like with Stadia, but is there any other support that developers can look for from Google Cloud?
Yeah, we have a team called Google Cloud Developer Relations team, where it's a team dedicated to support the local developers who are interested in learning Google Cloud technology solutions. So we have a couple of different communities kind of scattered across the world, and you can actually basically connect to those communities to understand, like for instance, you can connect with fellow developers and startups in your area. You can hear from industry experts. There are events happening for developer communities like occasionally. So you can join them physically, as in the world right now wouldn't be really possible, but I think virtually they're still happening. And Google's developer community program empowers developers, so you can get inspired by other Google Cloud experts. So if you want to learn Google Cloud, they are there to help you. They're super supportive. And other than that, you can get trainings. So we have a couple of free trainings that can be also provided. Maybe that could be also something I can add to the resources area, and you can the people who are interested in learning more about Google Cloud and joining these communities, I can share the links, and then you can look into that. And and if you want to develop your skills in Google Cloud, we have in-person training sessions and workshops, and you can connect to our experts, even for like Google Cloud engineers at some occasionally. So that's actually a really interesting and very powerful area if you wanna grow your skills and understand more about Google Cloud development tools. So that will be something I also add as a resource on the section.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you. And if anybody has any questions around this stuff, feel free to reach out to your Google POC, and they can also connect you to the right person in the cloud org. So we have a live question coming from the Play on Smart team. So Levent, I hope you can answer this one. Could you please elaborate more on cloud real-time multiplayer platforms, particularly in terms of instant player disconnect detection and automatic reconnects? And if this is not something that you have information about, we can always follow up with this team if needed.
Well, actually, I would have asked the person who's asking this question, what is exactly, what does exactly he means by real-time multiplayer platforms? So as in, like real-time streaming, or as in like real-time prediction analysis? So this could be actually elaborated more. Maybe you can kind of expand the question. I could look into that. player disconnect detection and automatic. Okay, so yeah, so this is something to do with machine learning. So I mean, we have AutoML tables, some services that we have at disposal where gaming companies can use. So I'm not sure if we have an API like kind of addressing this issue, like instant player disconnect detection or automatic reconnection. But even if you don't have an automated table that is addressing these deployments, these detections, you can actually create your model by using your AutoML tables for this purpose. So yeah, we could look into that, but this question can be expanded. So it would have been better if I would have understood the question a bit more deeper.
I think we can follow up with the team there. I just made a note, so we'll make sure to follow up with you guys. Okay, so unless anybody adds some more live questions, we have one last question about when game servers will be launched. But if you have any more live questions, please drop them in the box below and we will answer them while we're still live. But can you just talk about when game servers will be launched?
So game servers is a new service we have announced earlier this year. So it's still in alpha, but it hit in beta in Q2 2020, this quarter. So we are still investing in game servers and build out its capabilities. So phase 1 is running on Google Cloud platform only and providing basic policy management capabilities. But on phase 2, which is going to happen in half 2020 onwards in the next few months, so we are going to be supporting hybrid and multi-cloud environments. And it's going to have advanced policy management like scaling, allocation, and time-based policies. So yeah, we will keep you updated about that. Stay tuned. So basically, how does game service work? I also briefly mentioned about that. So you can adopt Agones or open source Kubernetes-based game servers, and you can provision Kubernetes clusters to be managed and install Agones on each cluster, and then companies can register with game services API. They can enable the API on their console and register their clusters, and then they can define their realms, and and then they can define their configs, and then they can slowly start testing and rolling out the game server deployments. It's a really easy process. We simplify the game server enrollment and deployment in the most basic form. So this is really interesting for companies who have a similar approach to maintain their service.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for answering that and for all of the questions today. I hope this was helpful to our listeners. With that, we're going to wrap it up. So thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for joining if you've been here all 7 weeks or if you've only been here this week. We're really thankful that you tuned in to AppHub Live. I just want to call out that we have this awesome resources tab within the Gather page, so you can find it there. There's been a Think with Google article written about Fingersoft and a few other pieces that may be helpful to you. We'll also add all of the Google Cloud stuff discussed today. So go there if you have any questions and have a look, see if there's something that might be interesting. And also, if you have any further questions, please reach out to your Google POC, who should be able to help you sort through things. So thank you again for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed AppHub Live, and hopefully we'll see you soon at another event like this. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.